Yes, guys, I'm here with Shannon Ryan. How are we doing, Shannon? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Nice to meet you.
And you, how are you?
I'm better now after watching you lot punch him in the stomach, to be honest. How was that for you?
Yeah, good. I think like us women can take the men.
Should I bring him down more often if you need like practice?
Punch bag.
Yeah, I can get him to move a little bit. He like really enjoyed it. Down to the serious stuff. Let's start with you, your career. You were saying a little bit earlier you didn't start out in boxing. So how did your fighting career begin?
I always say that I never really had a choice. I was 5 years old and my dad, before I was born, was in taekwondo. And then he went into kickboxing and had his own gym. And so, yeah, when I was born, when I was 5, I just was brought into all the sessions, and then he wanted us to learn it, me and my sisters, from such a young age. But the competing for us as well started at about 6. So we've always been in full combat mode since very, very young.
Yeah.
But the style that I'd done was sport karate, so it's points fighting.
Yeah.
So as I was getting older and I kind of won everything that there was to achieve, there was no really money in the divisions. You travel a lot around Europe and a bit in America, which was really fun. But again, you're fighting the same girls,
same people,
all the time, beating them, losing, beating them. So it was the same kind of cycle. And then as I was getting older, I was like, right, like, what am I going to do with my life? Because I want to fight as a career, but kickboxing, they're trying to, even still now, they're trying to get it into the Olympics. But for me being in kickboxing, I think it's so exciting to watch. Yeah. But to the ordinary public or the fans, the people viewing or who don't understand it, they won't watch it. They'll be like, what is going on?
The point system can be a little bit confusing.
Yes.
For me, I mean, I've been to watch a few shows and I'm like, I think he won. And then like someone else wins and was like, and I'm like, I don't
and it's like the scoring is done via, I know it's the same as in boxing, but the scoring system, like they don't really go through any kind of certificate to get the role. Sometimes it can just be like a parent
like on a Sunday at football.
So
the dad's the lino type of thing.
Yeah, so anyway, so I'd done the kickboxing. I was like, right, what do I go into next that will allow me to do a career in fighting? And that's when I got called up for the GP Taekwondo team when I was 19. Did 7 days at uni because I needed a backup, and then I got the call. I thought you
were going to do it. I said I had to do 7 days at uni to get in the GB squad.
No. I did 7 days.
Not much training there, is there?
So I did Freshers Week, which was fun. But then I also knew
that's the best bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
After that, it's downhill. Let's be honest. Like.
But then I knew that even being there, I was like, this is not for me. Like, education's not for me. But please get your education. But for me, that's not what I wanted to do. To become a PE teacher, like. When I think about that now, it blows my mind. So then I got the call up. So I literally went back to Watford, packed my stuff, moved to Manchester.
You're from Watford?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm from Luton. I've got to go.
Are you?
I'm joking.
Moved to Manchester, and it was great. But then again, I was getting my weight down for the tournaments and things, and then they wanted me to get to about 46 kilograms. And if people have seen me, I'm quite built for a female. More now than I was then, to be fair. But then that was a struggle. And then I got injured. I got released from the team. Then I was like, right, what do I do? Needed a job, needed money. Got a job at O2 as a Christmas temp. And then I was like, right, the next sport I go into, that's the one. And then started boxing at Finchley ABC at 23, I believe. And then haven't looked back since.
You literally didn't box until you were 23?
Yeah. Didn't box.
Nothing?
No.
So you're on the verge of a world title. How old are you now?
29.
In 6 years, you've come from never boxing to on the verge of a world title.
Yeah.
And you've been on the GB squad.
And also coming from a sport karate background, not like a K1 full contact.
So what can't you do?
Swim. Swim.
Right, so Jay, are you up for a swimming competition next time? Yeah.
I can swim. Do you know what? It's just I do a few and then I end up being like a pencil.
There's no one to fight. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. There's I get a bit bored. I get a bit like, what's going on?
Right. So let's go to. You've walked into the gym for the first time. What was the difference you noticed from a boxing gym to everything you've done before? I
think in the amateur gyms, firstly there was so many people, very hectic. Whereas I've come from the traditional route of you line up, you put your belt on, you bow. You don't speak. Well, you do speak, but you're not talking about what you did at school yesterday. It was very much the traditional route. Whereas obviously Finchley ABC, obviously the name of Anthony Joshua, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So it was like 3 or 4 people on a bag at a time. And obviously that's not something I'm used to. I'm used to, my dad was my coach before, so I'm also used to the one-on-one time, which in the amateurs you don't really get that as much.
You don't get that until you start to prove yourself, really. So amateurs, you must have thought as an amateur to turn pro.
Yeah, so I had 10 fights, and I think Finchley at the time had just come out of England boxing.
Yeah.
So I think I had 3 with the Alliance.
Okay.
And then they were really pushing for it to go back into England boxing, and then I had another 7. But it's really good. Like I went to Mexico, I went to Spain within those fights, which was really cool.
Wow. Like literally, your autobiography is going to be intense to read, isn't it?
But yeah, I think I won 7 and then lost 3.
10 fights, been to America, been to Mexico. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, you're doing everything at the moment. So, did you know that you was going to turn pro from one? Obviously, after a few fights, did you feel like this is the route for me? I'm going to turn pro in this and.
Yeah, I think at the time though, obviously the amateurs are very different to the pros.
Completely different world.
So even when I was an amateur, I was like, oh, I don't like this. It was just so fast paced, continuous punching, not a lot of thinking. Whereas in the pro game, it's a lot more, you settle down, you settle your feet, and you're thinking about the tactics and setting up.
The amateurs is a lot of what, especially English, is a lot of 1-2, 1-2, 1-1, 1-2.
And I don't understand the scoring system. I think it's changed again.
I don't think a lot of them understand the scoring system, to be fair. Like, I mean, the thing with boxing is preference. So some people like an aggressive fighter, some people like a more stylistic. So more in the pro game, because in the amateurs it is just so rapid. I think if you blink, you might miss 2 or 3 punches. But let's touch on you turning pro then. When did you turn pro? I mean, you're probably going to say like 6 months ago, the way you... No.
So I got my pro license, I think in the year of 2021, 258 Management, Anthony Joshua's company, they were going to kind of guide my career as an amateur and just kind of back me until I turned pro. But then the lockdowns kept getting extended. I was currently training to do my first elites. And then I think a couple of days, again, there was another lockdown. So I didn't end up doing the elites. And then I remember coming back from Newcastle, seeing a friend, and I just messaged in our group chat just saying, guys, like, let's just turn pro and let's just use a year or so to work on the pro style whilst pro gyms are open during lockdown.
Yeah.
And then I think I got my license in September 2021, but then didn't have my debut until March 2022.
Okay.
But it was the whole of 2021 was when we was working on like the pro style.
Yeah.
Got the license and then had my first fight in March 2022. So when you started working on
the pro style, was that for you like, yeah, this is me, this suits me better than the amateurs?
Yes, but back then I was still, I think people now can see a vast difference in my boxing compared to then. I think me as a person as well, like completely 2 different people.
Yeah.
But back then, I thought that was slow, calm, chill.
Like the last few fights I've seen of you, you look like a proper pro now.
Yeah,
you look like you're at not the level you're meant to be at, but I mean, as in you're going through what you look at. Some pros, especially in the women's game, are fighting above where they're at, if you know what I mean. But you look like you're on course. You know, you're established. Like you look like the last couple of fights, you look really good. It's been impressive. Like I mean, I don't think you've even been hit in the last couple of fights, to be fair.
I think doing the duels with Shauna was the most.
or Jay looked like he was about to throw some hands at one point. But so let's just move on through your pro career then. So how many fights have you had now? I did research, but my memory's terrible.
12.
Yeah, so 12, and you're on the cusp of being a world champion. As I did touch on that, you're actually at the moment waiting to see if you can get this shot at the IBF. If you can't get this, are you going to have another little sort of...
One in between.
Yeah,
I think it's super important to get that activity, because the last thing that we want to do is they unify the division, but that fight not take place until, for example, October, and then I'm not out at all until if I fight the winner, for example.
March or something.
So we'll definitely try and get one in between, just for that activity, keep working on things. But yeah, I think the activity is important rather than just waiting around.
So what's that like for a boxer? Because not a lot of people understand that you've dominated the European scene now. You're waiting to step up to the next level, but the politics at the moment is not allowing that to happen. So how does that? Where are you with that personally?
I think the Shannon 2 years ago would be stressing and overthinking and all of that sort of stuff. But I think where I've done a lot of growing in this time, it is what it is. And I think everything happens in its right time. And like my whole mantra before I started boxing is just trust the process. And I think the timeline of my career and of the events that have taken place has been right for me. I think if I boxed for a world title a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
there's one thing winning a world title, but there's another whole level of actually being a champion.
Yeah.
And I think if that happened to me a year and a half ago, I don't think I would have been ready mentally to carry out what it is to be a
Fast and
champion.
Fury, would you?
No,
Driving your Porsche down the road.
no. I just think how I envision myself to be a champion is I'm on the course of being able to do that.
So you're at the forefront now of women's boxing because women's boxing is now growing, and you're one of the female fighters now that is kind of in the setup phase of it, if you know what I mean. There's girls now that are going to be coming into the gym that are going to have a better chance at a career from women like yourselves. Like, how does that feel for you to know that you're leading the way? Because, like I say, women's boxing when you first started out was almost non-existent.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I don't think I would ever put myself in that category because I didn't grow up boxing, and I think I've come into a sport that I feel like it's where I'm supposed to be, and I've always meant to have ended up here. But I didn't grow up with it, so I never saw the roots of boxing. I see it growing now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is you're on TV, you're fighting.
Yeah.
There's girls that, like, before I met you, I didn't know any of this stuff in your past. So it's like, there's a lot of girls out there will just look at you as Shannon Ryan, the boxer, and they'll see what you're doing. And now they're going to be going into gyms because of people like yourselves, Katie Taylor and that, like. So in a sense, yeah, you are at the forefront of this now.
Yeah.
Women's boxing is only 6-7 years old. And like I say, you turned pro 6 years ago. So you're from coming at the start, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I do get what you're saying, and it feels great. It's nice, but then takes me back to becoming a world champion, and it's being that world champion that people can look up to, but conducting yourself in the right way and being a champion and then remaining champion.
There's definitely a difference between winning a world title and being a world champion. Like you said, conducting yourself outside the ring. And I'm glad to hear I've met the Shannon Ryan that's a year and a half further on. 'Cause I'm glad he met her because I don't know what she would have done to him. But apart from winning the title, let me ask you a personal question because I haven't had to ask this. Relationship-wise, what's that like for a woman in boxing? Because it's a male-dominated sport. And I don't just mean like, do you have a partner? I mean, like, so for you to settle down and have a family means you have to take time out of your career. Is that something that you've thought about, or is that something that has been in your mind since you've been a pro?
Yeah, and I think before it was very hard. Like, I've never been big on dating anyway. I think I couldn't think of anything worse than sitting across the table from someone and you want to leave.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, if I was on Hinge and I see, like, occupation pro boxer, I'm going to be like,
see, but that's not good though.
Yeah, no, but I'm being honest. As a man, like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, it's going to be one of them ones like, right. So, not only is she going to win every argument, but she's likely to knock me out at the same time.
Yeah, but I don't think that, because it's not ever like that.
No,
and I think, and I think that's where a lot of men that I've met in the past, they are very insecure, very intimidated.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, again, us as female boxers, see if someone says to me, oh, can you beat him in a street fight? And I'm like, well, no, because a street fight is very different to boxing.
Yeah.
Let's spar, that's different, but sparring. But in a street fight or just punching them in the kitchen, for me, I'm like, that blows my mind. Like, that's not something I would ever do.
No, I get that. And that's why I asked the question, because, like, it is not a male dominated sport, because women are very successful in it now, but it's a very associated with a male
of course.
thing. And like I said, I joke around, like, I wouldn't completely cut someone off just because they're a female boxer, just so you know, like, you female boxers, do you know what I mean? Hit me up on Instagram. What I'm saying is, like, how has it been for you in that sense? Because it's kind of one of them things where you may feel that, like, the minute I drop that, the way they see me may be different.
Yeah, no, it was hard. Growing up, it was hard. Being in sport all my life, the way that I look, sometimes can be a bit more musclier than some men. But my partner now, he's amazing. And I think he's very respectful. He's like my biggest fan, my biggest cheerleader. And I think he's such a great support, and I'm so glad I met him, because it allows me to just be myself and not have to worry about anything or what I do.
And he'll clean the whole house without being told twice.
No, I do that.
So let's go back to boxing. So obviously you got this shot. What do you want to, I mean, I know you're going to say world title, but there's more to that. Like, I'm sure that's not the only thing you want to achieve in boxing. What is your ultimate goal now from boxing?
My goal is to, I think do you know what I love is just being able to make an impact, and sometimes not even knowing that you're doing so. I think becoming a world champion is for me, that's not for anyone else. But being able to build my platform and use my platform to positively impact others and inspire others. And for me each camp, I feel like I become a better person, and I grow, and I do a lot of self-development, self-learning. And I think people that met the 23-year-old Shannon to the Shannon that I am now is completely different. And I think boxing has allowed me to just become a better person, and I can give that to other people.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have no doubt that you're going to achieve that, because you've done so much in such a short space of time. I would ask you what else you plan to achieve, but that's probably going to be a whole nother interview. It could take another hour. Listen, I want to thank you for your time. I wish you all the best. I'm pretty certain I'm going to be seeing you win a world title. I'm going to give you tums, because every time we do this, I go to throw tums and someone goes to shake her hand.
Oh, really?
So, Shannon, all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.